Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a quick video on why I think DFM underperformed at MSI. So for context, I predicted DFM to finish second in their group behind T1. They wouldn't take any games off T1, but they would comfortably beat Team A's, and then they would sort of maybe trade 1-for-1 with Saigon Buffalo, but then they'd beat them in a, like, what's it called, decider. But as you can see, they finished joint third in their group with Team A's, who were comfortably the worst team in the tournament. And we're just going to talk about why. I think it's prevalent to start with their own issues. So one of the things that stood out to me was the mid lane. So in the last year, they had a guy called Arya playing mid lane, but he went to KT roster, which is obviously a big move for him. He's shown that he doesn't necessarily have the mechanical skills, as he's underperformed quite a bit, KT, and they've even had to bring in another mid laner called Vikla, who played much fitted, seemed to fit much better within the team. Uh, but so go back to DFM, they brought in Yaharong to replace Arya, and he didn't seem to have the same level of coordination with the team, and I think that really, really let them down at MSI. I think that might be one of the key reasons. I think if we give Yaharong time, though, he could mesh with the team in the same way, and maybe he has a higher potential in terms of actual skill than Arya. Maybe I'm not in any position to make a definite claim about that, but I think that's potential. And then another thing that's worth looking at is the way the group stage played out. So they obviously beat Team A's first day. Then they played Saigon Buffalo. They lost. That's not completely unpredictable. It was slightly unforeseen. You should expect them to be better based on their previous performances at MSI and Worlds last year, but like it's not completely unpredictable. And then obviously they got clapped by T1. Then they played T1 again, which is really unfortunate because on that final day you play all your games, and it's all about momentum. And they literally played T1 and then Saigon Buffalo. They're like their game they were going to lose, and again the game that they had to win. And obviously, when you get clapped by T1, you're going to just lose a lot of momentum and a lot of motivation. And so they lost that game to Saigon Buffalo. Those are their own issues, as far as I can see. There's also some coaching issues with Kazu moving around support and coach, but I don't think that was like a core issue particularly, and so it's not necessarily worth going into as much detail. So then we're going to talk about the LJL. So, for those that know and saw my streams, I was really excited about the LJL coming to this season. V3 Esports, which is a team that's like sponsored by a high school in Japan, technical high school in Japan, had just brought up this team from academy that had destroyed an academy, replacing their old roster, which had finished second just last year in the LJL. And I was really excited. They'd gone completely undefeated in LJL Academy. Within the first day, you could see that it was never going to work, and as you can see here, they lost every single game. Um, Other teams that I was excited about included like Axes, and they had players like Yellow Yoshi, who was really, really good at adapting to certain things. Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks had the other guy from Academy who I was really excited about, who was on that V3 roster. To be fair, V3 brought in Dress Code and their AD Carry, and Marble is there. Um, and Marble went to Fukuoka. Um, and they also underperformed. And then like all the teams you weren't that excited about that didn't make any like improvements, they just seemed to sort of stay level. Like they didn't do very much. They didn't. They did the best though. But you can still see DFM lost 2 games in what I would say was the weakest LGL for at least 2 years. Um, so that's not a good sign. Um, as you can see though, they were still absolutely dominant. They destroyed Sengoku in the winners finals, and then they had to 3-2 in grand finals. And then let's talk about other reasons. The other reason is the VCS, and this is more to do with me overestimating LGL relative to VCS rather than anything else. So I watched the VCS Winter Split of 2021, which was the first time VCS had played since COVID. And the winners of that was Cerberus Esports, and the rosters didn't. For context, sorry, the rosters didn't change between VCS Winter and VCS Spring. So you were predicting a top three of Cerberus, Gam, Luxury based off that, I think. Yeah, that was roughly what you were looking at. It was seriously low quality gameplay in the Winter Split. It looked like what's it called? LLA. It genuinely looked like LA, which LLA was enough to it's enough to make me just stop watching the stream because it is so bad at times. Um, so yeah, I didn't expect VCS to do too much, particularly as it was their second seed because GAM would rather go to the Sea Games, which is a bit odd, but I respect it if that's what you'd rather do. Um, And then also there's like the group strength as a result. I like massively changed my perspective of the group strength. Like I thought T1 were far stronger than they actually were, and they just weren't actually that good. And obviously I've talked about this last day where they lost their important. They had their T1 and then they had their important game. But yeah, it's quite disappointing. Anyway, that's it for today. Hope to see you guys in another video.